Somebody just joined it. SHALAM, Pizza what? Sound great. Alright, we're going to get started. Alright, this I.S.U.P.K, Atlanta, under Commander Yahanna. We have a school here at 3353 Glenwood Road. And today, Glenwood Road, that's in Decatur, Georgia. So today is the Monday night history class. And the topic today is Cointelpro. Alright? So Cointelpro was basically an illegal, it was like an illegal movement that the government had did, right? Does anybody know about Cointelpro at all?
What's like?
Go ahead.
So it's like something like a stealth group, you know what I'm saying? They trying to, you know what I'm saying, trying to infiltrate certain cultures in the way of they trying to build and they trying to destroy the building of the empowerment of certain cultures. So yeah, since by like 69, they what Takashi 69, you know what I'm saying, to come into another, you know what I'm saying, coming to a game, you know what I'm saying, be rapping and stuff like that. One of the abilities they would use, okay, the game. So game culture got to have something to do with like rapping and stuff like that, selling drugs. So they could put him in, he could be a rapper or not, you know what I'm saying? He actually know the people in the game, so that way he can get with other gang members, they'll start talking, partying, whatnot, you can get information back to the government to pretty much overthrow them.
Okay, you're in the neighborhood. Anybody else know about it at all? Okay. Alright, guess nobody knows about Cointelpro. Not too many people. Alright, Cointelpro was like a clandestine, which means like secretive by the government. It was like an operation where it was to set up to disrupt civil rights groups, mainly black civil rights groups,
Right.
black, Hispanic, and Native American civil rights groups, right? And it was illegal. That's the issue of the whole thing. So, and we're gonna show how it was illegal. All right. You go to the Bill of Rights, right? Because they say we a citizen now, right? They say we citizens and all of this, correct? So, the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances, right? So what they're saying is the First Amendment, the government can't stop your religion, your right to free press, right? Your right for free speech. So then you also you have the right to express your grievances with the government, right? That's what these black organizations were set up to do, express these grievances, right? And that's supposed to be covered under the Bill of Rights. So the government going against the Bill of Rights, that's illegal, right? That's just one. Now you go to Amendment 4, right? The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. So you should not be, they should, that's the one where, I know my rights. You can't search me without justifiable cause, right? This is what this is. And no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So it has to go through a court order. It has to be probable cause to go and actually search and seize anything of your property. All right. So that's two things. All right. Let me see what's the other one. So you see, that's already two laws that they're going against, right? So already, so that's showing you how this whole thing is illegal. The Second Amendment as well, a well-regulated militia be necessary to the free state, the security of the free state, and the right to the people to keep and bear arms should not be infringed. So they also were in the process of disarming these groups as well, right? Let me see. Okay. Okay, that's the main two. Um, there was another that I know I just gotta find it, but um, like I said, they can't search or seize. They can't go, and freedom of press, and then they can't like I said, if you want to just like if you want to go against anything of the government, like if you want to have organizations or whatever, they can't stop you from organizing. They can't stop you from doing any of these things, but they want to stop people from organizing because they didn't want black people to do it. It was the main thing. All right. So I'm trying to find that last one. But all right, let's go here. Cointelpro. Let's get into it. I'm gonna get into the atmosphere of it. All right. The atmosphere of this time, it was right around the 1950s to 1970s, and right at this point, we're like a battle with Russia. Okay. So like Russia is like the boogeyman. So we're in a constant fight because Russia, they're communists, right? They didn't want uh, Russian, because Russia is influencing other people of other countries because Russia, how do you put it? Russia was at some term trying to help black people here, not to help black people. They were doing it to try to destabilize the government. You understand what I'm saying? They were trying to help black people to destabilize the government. So a lot of black people were getting in groups trying to be the Communist Party and all of this to show support of Russia because they're thinking that they're on their side, of course, right? We took our allegiance off one oppressor to another. So this is the atmosphere. So they're, panicking. They don't know what's going on, because, they don't want, they got spies popping up everywhere, Russian spies. So America is, of course, terrified. It's like any devil, what they do. They start getting terrified. They start trying to, they come after you, basically. They want to make sure, just like what did Pharaoh do, right? When Pharaoh saying that we were growing and we were growing strong, he said, let me get them because if they go against any of our other enemies, right, they're going to be able to take us over. So they seen that they didn't want us aligned with Russia because they was feeling as though if we align with Russia, Russia could come and take over the United States. So instead of them, actually doing what they should have done was give rights to people and make sure we weren't getting killed by the KKK. They gonna say, you know what? Let's infiltrate them and let's destroy them. Let's, start planting false evidence, get them arrested, all of this and that, right? That was their plan. All right. So COINTELPRO is a full counter. What it is, a full counterintelligence program conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, from 1956 to 1971 to discredit and neutralize organizations considered subversive to U.S. political stability. Like I said, they wanted to keep the U.S. Politics. They wanted to keep the government together, right? And they knew that if they had black people going over somewhere else, in a line with somewhere, trying to line up with something else, somebody, another country, they felt the state, was going to be destabilized, right? It was covert and often used extra-legal means to criminalize various forms of political struggle and derail several social movements, such as those for civil rights and Puerto Rican independence. All right. COINTELPRO operations were initiated against various organizations, including the Communist Party, Socialist Workers' Party, Puerto Rican Nationalist Party, Black Panther Party, American Indian Movement. That's our brothers, all our brothers there, Puerto Ricans and the Native Americans, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and the Ku Klux Klan. So when they added the KKK with the group, it was not to actually do anything about the KKK. It was just to say that we're not discriminating. It was to clear that part up. When they said, okay, we're going to attack all of these people, but I'm going to show you that they actually were pretty much not, most of their resources were going towards black people in the civil rights movement. It was not going to these other groups. That was just the red herring. They make it seem like that's what they were doing, but no, they're going after black people. All right. Tactics include intense surveillance, organizational infiltration. So what they would do, they would have surveillance on people, watching people everywhere they go, right? And what was it saying? It's just an organizational infiltration. So they'll have members coming into the group, all of that, right? And that's how these infiltrations is how Martin Luther King and Malcolm X got killed. These infiltrations, all right? Anonymous mailings. They'll mail stuff back and forth to other leaders, disturbing people, making brothers hate each other, right? And police harassment. So they would go act as though they were members and start harassing police, so the police would come against the movement, right? These programs were exposed in 1971 when the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI burglarized the FBI office in Media, Pennsylvania. They stole confidential files and then released them to the press. More information regarding COINTELPRO was later obtained through the Freedom of Information Act. Lawsuits lodged against the FBI by the BPP, was the Black Panther Party, and the SWP, the Socialist Workers Party, and statements by agents who came forward to confess their counterintelligence activities. So it became like a Freedom of Information Act. That's when it started like revealing a lot, over time. Like if it won't uh, mess up national security, they have to start giving away some of the, the moves that they played in different wars or different things like that, right? So end up having to give all this information out. But then they burglarized the whole FBI base, FBI office, and that's how they found out that they were, like they already knew they were being watched. This is how we know at UPK we're being watched all the time. Right. We know that, right? But the difference is now they had documents saying this is the information that they drew up on. All right. A major investigation was launched in 1875 by the U.S. Senate Select Committee to study governmental operations with respect to intelligence activities, commonly referred to the Church Committee, for its chairman, Senator Frank Church of Idaho. However, millions of pages of documents remain unreleased, and many released documents are heavily censored. In its final report, the committee sharply criticized Cointelpro. So the Cointelpro was a completely, um, it was just a destructive organization that they were trying to do. What they were trying to do. They were just trying to discredit everybody. So they're basically that they can take people. They can basically keep you as a slave. You see, you trying to fight back. This is what they do. They use psychological warfare. All right. Anybody know what psychological warfare is?
That's right. They want us to believe that, you know what I'm saying, the blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians were three separate races of people, like three separate races of families. So they were divide and conquer. They did this in, whatever, 1492? You know what I'm saying? Christopher Columbus came in, you know what I'm saying? They got the Taínos first, you know what I'm saying? Then that he enslaved them, he sent some of them, like, yeah, like the Israelite girls, you know what I'm saying, sent them to Europe, you know what I'm saying, sent some Taínos down in South America where they got the borderlines, they got their babies in cages. They believe that, you know what I'm saying, different races of people. Okay, California, North and South California, you know what I'm saying, they got us fighting against each other, you know what I'm saying. We thinking that we're enemies, you know what I'm saying, we two different races of people, but you know what I'm saying, the blacks and Hispanics, we are the same people. We go through the same struggles, the same curses. But the only way how they did that is that to divide us by language. So we can't communicate with each other because the strongest thing of, you know what I'm saying, running something is body language and communication. And that's part of it.
That's part of it. Like I said, in your neighborhood, it's like anybody else got more on it? You got some more on that young man? You there? Desmond. You talking to me, sir? Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, yeah. Do you know anything about psychological warfare? Mm-hmm. Exactly what it is. It's making your enemy um basically so because here's the thing, like why would you go and use your soldiers to go and get killed, in a war and everybody know that you're fighting when you can send a few people in, infiltrate the place and make the whole building collapse on itself. And that's what they're doing. They're sending out, they're starting rumors, say that this brother hates this brother sleeping with this brother's wife, whatever the case is, just to stir up controversy in the group so that they hate each other, right? Part of that was like you can go to the Nation of Islam when they had Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad, right? They had them going at each other. They started the beef with them, and now they beefing with each other. And then now that's what led to Malcolm X getting killed. This whole Cointelpro. That's what led to Martin Luther King getting killed. That's what led to pretty much, when they had locked up all of the Black Panthers on trumped up charges. That's all this led to. All right, go ahead. Yeah, that's part of it too. Mhm. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just like you just said, they're going to they're going to just make the house fall on top of itself. Go ahead.
Oh, so yeah, I got a precept for that, counter that. So Matthew chapter 24, verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumor of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. You know what I'm saying? It's Southhouse warfare, so they send, you know what I'm saying, they sending, you know what I'm saying, people come in to, you know what I'm saying, destruct our minds and stuff like that. So our mind get destructed. We think that blacks, we really ain't so-called black, you know what I'm saying? We thinking we so-called Japanese or whites or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But the end ain't yet, you know what I'm saying? The end ain't coming yet, you know what I'm saying? Once the end comes, you know what I'm saying, or Christ coming black, you know what I'm saying? Hit that sky, crack that sky. It's on. We're gonna have peace and prosperity. I'm be on that.
All right. Yeah, so you dig on here, they start spreading out rumors, right? Start telling, just making up things, right? Make these brothers hate each other because if they can destroy the leadership of the group, then you destroy the group because they say you cut off the head, you kill the snake.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So they were doing stuff to cut off the head. So like I said, they don't need to kill you no more. They just make your own people kill you. They don't have to do anything, and their hands are clean. So they can't trace it back to them necessarily. If you go in into, and say for instance, you want to go into one of the purple cast groups, right? And you make them turn on each other where the leadership ends up being killed by each other in a fight or whatever, right? Now you don't even know what happened. You can't link it back to whoever started it because they were just sending out random, this is like they were sending out random emails to each other. They were phishing emails. Phishing is like saying like it came from this brother, but what it came from another brother, it was somebody else, and they were sending out email. Well, they had emails at this time, but I'm just giving you the modern term of it. So they're sending out emails, just like how you get spam hacked on Facebook. That's what they were doing. They were hacking, just we're living without computers at this time, basically. So saying that this brother did this brother did that, stirring up this controversy with each other. All right. Into this. Got a video real quick. Okay. Let me see. Let me do this real quick. So we'll be here. Okay. All right. This is a little video they got on on Cointelpro. Just listen to this for a second.
Supposedly, the FBI is a government agency supposedly intended to protect American civilians from the worst criminals imaginable, from domestic terrorists to serial killers. But who do you run to when the FBI wants you dead? It may seem like the high concept.
So that says that's what the FBI is supposed to do. They're supposed to get serial killers, people that people that do crimes across borders. They're supposed to go after criminals, right? But it said, what do you do if they are the ones coming after you and you're not even the criminal, right?
Premise of the latest Jason Bourne movie, but this was actually the terrifying reality faced by a number of political leaders and public figures as a result of Cointelpro, the FBI's clandestine series of projects intended to bring American activism to its knees. But what was Cointelpro really? When did it happen? Who were its targets?
So it was activism. They were trying to bring it to its knees. They were trying to destroy all of the activism. So they don't want people getting rights because they feel as though if you got rights or you decided you want to fight, now they have a problem on their hands. They don't want to deal with black people going against the government. All right.
And what terrifying illegal methods were employed under its purview. There's only one way to find out, but be warned, by the time this video is over, the FBI won't seem like the brave crime stoppers the movies often paint them as under COINTELPRO, which stands for Counterintelligence Program.
So yeah, the FBI, they're painted as like this this law enforcement agency that does everything right, that keeps criminals off the street. That's what they looked upon as, right? But we gonna put the kibosh on that. We gonna destroy that whole notion.
They were responsible for everything from psychological warfare to cold-blooded murder, all committed against mostly non-violent individuals whose greatest crime was questioning the system. Just now.
So they did cold-blooded murder on people. Well, all they did was question the system. All right.
Far the system will go to silence these questions will alarm and terrify you. And at the heart of it all was FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, who opened a nightmarish Pandora's box of government overreach and illegal domestic espionage. The year was 1956, and the Red Scare is no need to be an expert in American political history to know that mid-1950s America was terrified of communism. The threat of the bomb loomed large over American psyches, and Soviet spies and sleeper agents seemed to lurk in every shadow. Russia and the West were fighting a culture war, and the U.S. was scared it was losing. When someone is afraid and backed into a corner, there's almost nothing they won't do to protect themselves, whether the initial fear is justified or not. The U.S. needed bold strategies.
So they got scared because they felt as though Russia was winning the culture war. They felt as though, like, there's a war going on because America wants to be looked upon as the righteous, organization. That's what they wanted to be looked upon as. So Russia was winning, and they were starting to seem as though they were more righteous than America was, right? And they were doing things were right. They wanted to change that.
To fight the perceived communist threat growing within their own borders, and J. Edgar Hoover was on the case. He gave his underlings a sweeping directive to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize any political groups deemed too subversive for the FBI's liking.
So expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit. They doing all of this. They're going to change what they're trying to do. That's why the Black Panthers started doing drugs, right? Started misdirecting what they were doing. The Bloods and the Crips were not gangs. They were organizations trying to help the black people in these communities, right? And all of a sudden now they're doing drugs, like selling drugs to each other, all right?
Hoover had the tacit permission of President Eisenhower and soon after President Kennedy, and Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy.
So you heard that, right? Replay that.
Neutralize any political groups deemed too subversive for the FBI's liking. Hoover had the tacit permission of President Eisenhower and soon after President Kennedy.
So you heard that Eisenhower, Dwight Eisenhower, and Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, the one all black people love, Robert Kennedy, he signed off on this. And y'all thought y'all love Kennedy, right? Black people love Kennedy back in these days. Right?
Oh, I thought you said I was about to bring it down with Bill Clinton with the saxophone, but back in those days, Robert Kennedy, but these days, Bill Clinton, cause he smoked some weed and got them playing some saxophone. Like, okay, he's black like us.
Black people love Kennedy. They love Kennedy. But he signed off for Cointelpro. He didn't want you to have rights.
And Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy personally signed off on a number of covert projects under the COINTELPRO banner.
He signed off on it. Like I said, he signed off. While he was Attorney General, he signed off on this.
Of course, while every sinister government project requires some enabling bureaucrats to sign all the permission slips, there always needs to be some trigger men willing to get their hands dirty and get the dastardly job.
So yeah, you had to have somebody, the trigger man, to do it, right? Because all the people, they want to just sign paperwork, you don't give them a permission slip. Go ahead and do it. So somebody had to do the actual deeds.
Done. In this case, we have William C. Sullivan, director of the FBI's Domestic Intelligence Operations. Sullivan's first target was the Communist Party of America, who, on name alone, were obviously no friends of the Cold War FBI. Some of the techniques used by the FBI to destroy the Communist Party from the inside, including having agents sending threatening anonymous phone calls, having the IRS constantly audit them, and sending in forged documents.
So I heard that they would give out phone calls, saying, trying to scare people, trying to make them not do what they're trying, what they're trying to do. Like a lot of those phone calls, those anonymous phone calls, you thought that it was, maybe right wing or whatever people it was, but no, that was the government doing these crank calls, right? Saying that doing these threatening calls, right? It wasn't just you thought it was citizens. No, it's the FBI doing it. All right? That's how they got your phone number. Because it's the FBI, they can get your phone number. All right?
To sow dissent among the party's ranks. You'll come to notice that this is a running theme among the COINTELPRO projects, using psychological warfare tactics to turn groups against each other and alienate their members. To this end, literally nothing was off the table. FBI agents infiltrating meetings and posing as members to cause conflict, intelligence gathering for blackmail and extortion, and even spreading rumors to increase the tension. Though compared to just how
they was gathering evidence so they could blackmail somebody, right? Doing all of these things. All right?
horrific and violent their methods would later become, some blackmail and rumor spreading is pretty quaint. While the Communist Party was a perfect training ground for refining their domestic espionage techniques, the activities that would make COINTELPRO infamous were perpetrated against civil rights groups, starting in the late 50s and continuing through the 60s. Dr. T.R.M. Howard, a prominent black surgeon, entrepreneur, and civil rights leader, was critical of the FBI's inaction on a number of infamous hate crimes, including the murders of Emmett Till and George Washington Lee.
So, all these people, Emmett Till, how he got killed, right? All right, how Emmett Till got killed, right? What, about to say something? Hello? Oh, nah. So, yeah, that's what they were doing. So, they were trying to, oh yeah, he was he was talking about the government, how they weren't doing anything about this, right? They killed people, how all this, and the FBI didn't step in for none of that. So he was critical of the FBI. So what did the FBI do? They got critical of him, right?
This prompted Hoover to turn the dangerous attentions of Sullivan and his FBI cronies to black civil rights groups, starting with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, on the grounds that they were supposedly hotbeds of subversive communist activity. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference was just the tip of the iceberg, though. During their 15-year heyday, COINTELPRO would infiltrate and attack the Black Panther Party, anti-Vietnam War organizers, feminist groups, environmentalist and animal rights groups, the Nation of Islam, the Young Lords Puerto Rico Independence Group, and the American Indian Movement. In their very minor defects, they also did take on the Ku Klux Klan. But when you need to compare yourself to the Klan to have moral high ground, you're not doing well. Perhaps the
You know, you said if you had to compare yourself to the Klan, you know, you're not doing well. What the Klan did was nothing like these other movements did. The Klan, especially how they started doing more wicked things because of the infiltration that they had came up on the groups, right? But no, the KKK was doing evil since its inception. All right.
most infamous victims were two of the most well-known civil rights leaders in American history, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. It all gets a whole lot worse from here.
Good night.
Yeah, that's where he went to. One thing it says on here says truth is on the side of the oppressed. That's 100%. That's why you know the Bible is true, because that's on the side of the oppressed. The people that are winning who are oppressing, they're going to tell a very flavorful, fruitful, abundant, story. Man, we were doing good, man. We had a couple, good workers. They helped us grow our people. But then the people that actually were oppressed, they would say, nah, we were slaves. They beat our back in. They don't want to, they're going to give a whole colorful history. They ain't going to tell what's there black and white. All right? Yeah.
Oh, so I got a precept for that. The classic precept. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart.
All right? That's right. Oppression makes you mad. It makes you want to fight, makes you want to go against the government, right? Go against the powers that be, the principalities, all right? And the gift does destroy the heart. What they do is they start giving out little gifts, and now you don't want to fight no more because you're scared that gift is going to be taken from you.
Right.
All right, let's keep playing.
In 1963, Dr. King gave his iconic I Have a Dream speech during the March on Washington, while generations of people across the world were touched and inspired by this incredible piece of history. The FBI were terrified. Dr. King was dreaming too big for their liking, and they wanted to put him in his place, that place being 6 feet below the ground. Hoover ordered Sullivan to turn his attention to discrediting and destroying King and the movement he'd come to represent.
So they wanted to destroy and discredit him, all right? They want to destroy Martin Luther King, all right? Not that we agree with Martin Luther King at all. Don't get it twisted. It's just a history class. Don't get it wrong. He's still our brother, even though he aligned himself with the devil. He's still our brother, right? And we prefer each other. You understand that, right? Even if our brother is wicked, even if our brother he in the world, we prefer our brothers over the oppressor any day. Hope you understand that. Go ahead.
Just like I say, you know what I'm saying? I'll let you know, the Bible's a real book. It ain't some fairy tale that you go to your grandmama, your mama house, you see some white naked angel babies, half naked with an arrow or something like that. Because just because you say, you know what I'm saying, Cointelpro, you know what I'm saying, they send our people to come destroy us. We believe that because I got a precept on that. The book of Jeremiah chapter 23 verse 25. I have heard what the prophet said. They have prophesied lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed. There's Martin Luther King. I have a dream today of this. Little black balls, little white girls gonna join hands together. I have dreamed this and dreamed that. But that was a lie. Because in Deuteronomy 73 say you can't sleep with those daughters. And our daughters can't sleep with those sons.
Yeah.
So
His
it's a real book.
dream was a nightmare for black people. It sounded good, but the thing is, even he realized that at some point, probably after he realized all of this COINTELPRO mess, what did Martin Luther King say? Martin Luther King, he said himself, I fear I have led my people into a burning house. So instead of separating and having your own house, he was trying to lead them into a house that was burning. It was already on fire. So that means what's a house that's on fire? What's gonna happen to it? It's gonna burn up, right? It's gonna go to hell, right? That's what's gonna happen to it. And you just led your people there in a file, one by one in file line, right? Go into the burning house. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like that. Junior Hunter had said it a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago. You should see the smoke. You know what I'm saying? Smoke, it's feel uncomfortable to get your eyes put into it. You know what I'm saying? It feel uncomfortable to inhale it. So if you even go to the burning house, you be like, no, it don't feel right. But I don't know, somehow you still lead them to keep going to have accountability to they get their eyes burned out. You know what I'm saying? They lose their breath, they end up dying in that burning house.
Mm-hmm. So they was leading them into that. That's where Martin King was leading the people into this burning house because he thought that what he thought was, he thought our oppressor was human, that they had feelings, that you thought that you can get compassion out of them because you can be compassionate, right? That's why the Most High sent Christ to die for us, right? To give you, so you can have compassion on what he did to his own son, so you know that you get your life together. That's what compassion is. We got compassion. These devils don't have compassion. But that's what Martin Luther King realized a little bit too late. Go ahead. Go ahead. That's Shalom Christ. You talking about? So he realized a little too late that he was leading his people into a burning building. All right, let's keep going.
Sullivan subsequently released a horrifically racist statement. In the light of King's powerful demagogic speech, we must mark him now, if we've not done so before, as the most dangerous Negro of the future in this nation from the standpoint of communism.
So he said he was the most dangerous Negro. Right there. Dangerous nigga. That's what they thought of. Come on, because he was the most dangerous nigga. They wanted to get him out of here. All right.
Negro and national security. The espionage began. King's home and hotel rooms were bugged, and his phones were tapped. The FBI was listening intently to his every word for blackmail material that they could use to silence King. You're probably asking, silence him? As in pressure him into discontinuing activism?
So they started doing wiretaps, right? They wanted to find information on him, right? So they could discredit him, or maybe have him, not, silence him. All right.
Renouncing his beliefs? To which we'd answer, no. They wanted Dr. King to kill himself. In 1964, after years of collecting audio evidence.
I bet y'all didn't know that, right? They wanted him to kill himself. They should have known Christians, they don't kill themselves. They don't, they kind of silver. They don't want to kill themselves, right? We'll go ahead.
Of Dr. King's marital affairs, King was sent a suicide package.
So they knew about his extramarital affairs that he had them. Then we talked about Orgy Mike.
Right, yeah.
They knew about his orgies that he was having with these white women, or these oppressor women. They knew about it. And they gave it to him, all right?
Days before he was supposed to collect his Nobel Peace Prize, the package included copies of the incriminating audio, as well as a truly horrifying letter. The letter, while anonymous, is believed to some to have been written by Sullivan himself. It's a verbally abusive speech that opens with King, in view of your low-grade abnormal.
So then they gave him this letter as well. So in this package, they had all of this, tapes of him, things he was saying, his speakings, pictures. They gave him a whole surveillance pack to show that we've been watching you, right?
Personal behavior. I will not dignify your name with either a Mr. or Reverend or a doctor, and your last name calls to mind only the type of king such as King Henry VIII, and his countless acts of adultery and a moral conduct lower than that of a beast.
Oh wow, man, the devil, boy. You heard what he said? He said him as King Henry VIII, right? King Henry VIII. All this extramarital affairs. Like all of them wasn't going to land with prostitutes and little boys. Like these presidents don't do that. Come on, man. Shoot, King Henry, how they talking about him? He might even be a black man. He might even been a black man. He might have to go look. All right. Let's see who he was. King of England. All right. probably a little bit more on it. But, 'cause you know, a lot of those kings was black men. So he might have been, because I'm saying here with Queen Elizabeth, I'm pretty sure Queen Elizabeth was a black woman. So it's possible that he was a black man. So trying to see if his last name. If his last name was Stewart, then that means he was a black man. So yeah, he must have been. He probably was, because you would notice whenever they start naming kings or whatever, that was despicable that they hated. They ended up being a black person, but you just didn't know he was black, right? All right. There's nothing I can find right, quickly. So all right. King Henry is famous. King Henry and Queen Elizabeth. Yeah, it's possible that he was black. It's very possible. So, all right. Trying to see. Go ahead. Yep. Tudor. Okay. I, I have to, get some, learn about it a little bit and try to find. I'm look into it, but I'm pretty sure Elizabeth, his mother, was a black woman. Pretty sure. I have to read, check upon it again. But I'm pretty sure that she was a black woman. So he, like I said, when they like whenever you see that, like when they name like you despicable like such and such, you go back in history like that was he was a nigger too. That's why they hated him, right? King James they hated, cause King James is black, right? So, but I have to check on them. I can't remember. It was a lot that were black and some that weren't, and it just depends. I can't remember which one it was. But I'll look and try to find that before the next time I teach. All right. Okay. Go ahead. So cards up. And they said he. Oh, I'm too wild, man. I'm too wild. So and they were saying it's countless acts of adulteral and immoral conduct. That's what he's saying. This conduct was lower than that of a beast. But last week, what was we talking about? What was we talking about last week? We was talking about that they little organization they got over there in California where they go around acting a damn fool out there. Acting all type of they acting like beasts out there. But it's okay when they do it. But if you just wanna, lay with another woman, I say that you doing adultery and you a beast. You can't control yourself, but they going around acting a damn fool out there, with other men. Alright? Let's keep going.
The letter almost reads like the cruelest internet comment you've ever seen, complete with a plethora of personal insults and spelling errors. And much like an internet troll with a serious mean streak, the letter ends by attempting to pressure Dr. King into committing suicide. It reads, King, there is only one thing left for you to do. You know what it is. You have just 34 days in which to do. This exact number has been selected for a specific reason, and it has a definite practical significance. You are done. There is but one way out for you. You better take it before your filthy, abnormal, fraudulent self is bare to the nation. While for legal reasons.
So they said that, they want him to kill himself. And they said you better do it before we announce you as a fraud to the nation. That this is what they do, to try to so that your name will kind of be you'll feel like your name will be intact. And you won't have the negative association with your name. So I want you, if you kill yourself now, you'll still have a good name. All right?
They stop just short of saying straight up, kill yourself or we'll humiliate you. The implications are crystal clear. When King didn't give in and take his own life, Carla Deloach, the FBI assistant director at the time, began leaking the incriminating evidence to every news outlet imaginable. They were ruthless in their willingness to destroy reputations and lives to achieve their goals. But things were going to get a whole lot worse. While they were trying to manipulate Dr. King into taking his own life, the FBI were stoking the fun.
They was trying to manipulate everybody, kill yourself. So they try to manipulate him. This is something to happen.
There's of tension among the Nation of Islam and the Organization of Afro-American Unity, both known for their association with civil rights leader El-Hajj Malik el-Shabazz, better known as Malcolm X. Through Cointelpro, the FBI widened the rift between Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the Nation of Islam. After a sustained harassment campaign involving infiltration, rumor mongering, and the artificial elevation of conflict, the disagreements of Malcolm X and Muhammad turned deadly, and Malcolm X was assassinated by some Nation of Islam gunmen. While the FBI denied direct involvement in the assassination, there's extremely credible evidence that their involvement in exacerbating the conflict led to the murder. As the 1960s drew...
See, like, with them, they probably could have resolved the issue, but they couldn't do it because of all of the rumors that was getting started. They was manufacturing beefs between them, right? Just manufacturing them. And then if you were to go and talk to this person, they were gonna make it seem like you were weak, right? So it felt, either you basically was two powerful people in an organization. Now you going around, the only way out of this organization is death, right? Somebody gotta die.
The FBI intensified its COINTELPRO operations against prominent civil rights groups, Dr. King and his associates in particular. This project was known as COINTELPRO Black Hate. According to a 1968 FBI memo, they feared that Martin Luther King Jr. was becoming a kind of messiah figure and would unite the various disparate civil rights groups into a force that could truly be reckoned with. If Dr. King ever decided to reject nonviolence and lead to an armed revolt, they would be in serious trouble. King was public enemy number one, but prominent members of groups like the Black Panthers weren't far behind. All of them had to go. The FBI concluded with numerous police departments in cities with considerable Black Panther presences, including San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, Philadelphia, and Chicago. They would coordinate raids into the homes of Black Panther members without warrants, during which...
Yeah, see, what they doing? Going there without warrants, going attacking Black Panther Party members, right? Hold on, we need to go back and play some of that.
Force that could truly be reckoned with. If Dr. King ever decided to reject nonviolence and lead to an armed revolt, they would be in serious trouble.
You heard that. It said if he would ever say we're not going to do nonviolence, and they were going to go and actually start fighting with arms, he said they're going to be in trouble. All right. So, and there's also a thing. He was going to be a messiah. There's a like a protocol that they do for anybody that wants to be start becoming a messiah figure for Black people. Like Tupac was becoming that at one point. And he was able to. He had the necessary charisma and the respect of most people to unite Black people, right? So of course you notice when they get to that point, they gotta die some type of way. Marcus Garvey was one. They killed him. Who else? Whoever gets a big follow, they start doing whatever they can to discredit and destroy him. Michael Jackson, he was getting to the point that he was like a Black messiah. Who else? Bill Cosby. I'm not saying that they were, I'm not saying that we followed them. Don't get it twisted. But they were becoming so powerful that they were able to get Black people to do they had high influences. I feel like that. They had a lot of influence on people. So when they had all this influence, something had to happen to them. All right.
King was public enemy number one, but prominent members of groups like the Black Panthers weren't far behind. all of them had to go. The FBI concluded with numerous police departments in cities with considerable Black Panther presences, including San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, Philadelphia, and Chicago. They would coordinate raids into the homes of Black Panther members without warrants, during which many of said members were shot dead by police. One particularly infamous.
You heard that, right? Just like, what was her name? Amber Geiger. Go in the house and just shoot you dead just for no reason. They just go in your house. Oh, he got a gun. You was sitting in the couch with your remote in your hand, right? He got a gun. They shoot you dead. They start shooting a bunch of members and killing them, right?
Example is the assassination of Chicago Black Panther Party chairman Fred Hampton. On December 4th, 1969, Hampton was drugged and incapacitated by deep cover FBI infiltrator William O'Neill, a Chicago PD tactical unit.
And this was a brother. They infiltrated and he got him drugged up. All right, this is a brother that did this. All right.
It then entered his home at the FBI's behest and murdered Hampton in his bed in cold blood. No crime was too cruel and no tactic was too underhanded for Cointelpro.
You heard that? They went and killed them in cold blood. Cold blood, just killed them. And you think they got in trouble for it? Think anything happened for this? Nothing.
With the help of colluding police departments, the FBI was able to launch a brutal harassment campaign against figures in the world of leftist politics and civil rights. Specific individuals like Elmer Geronimo Pratt, a Black Panther Party leader, were accused of crimes they didn't commit and arrested on false pretenses. Evidence was falsified, witnesses were intimidated, and legality was twisted to serve whatever purpose the FBI wanted it to.
Now you heard that. They threatened witnesses. They made people testify against them, planted evidence, all of that, right?
Spent party leader were accused of crimes they didn't commit and arrested on false pretenses. Evidence was falsified, witnesses were intimidated, and legality was twisted.
And legality was twisted. That's the legality of, our oppressor been doing cocaine forever, right? Cocaine forever. But a small amount of crack will get you in jail longer than a whole kilo of cocaine, right? I'm talking about what a tablespoon of crack will get you in, you'll do more prison time. They twisted legalities, right? Which crack isn't that much cocaine because it's mixed, right? It's watered down by, however they do it, we're gonna leave that to that. But it's watered down. It's a watered down drug. So it's not the same thing as cocaine, but they've been doing cocaine forever. They don't really want to make that hard illegal because that means that it's harder for them to get a hold of it. All right.
To serve whatever purpose the FBI wanted it to. Pratt spent 27 years in jail for a fallacious murder charge just because he was a member of the Panthers. Members of the KKK, like Gary Thomas Rowe, were kept on the FBI payroll as informants, while still committing atrocities like the 16th Street Baptist Church charge just because he was a member of the Panthers. Members of the KKK, like Gary Thomas.
This is members of the KKK now. That's how they do their members, right? The people that's in the KKK. It's like you said, black people, they felt as though you was the most extreme, that you was going to do all of the killing, you was destroying the country, right? This is what they did to they informant.
Rowe were kept on the FBI payroll as informants.
He was kept on their payroll. They paid him. He got money.
While still committing atrocities like the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing.
And he still did atrocities. He killed black people. Did a 16th Street church bombing and killed black people in that church, man. Killed them. But he's fine. He's a witness, getting paid. All right.
And this wasn't an isolated incident. Under Cointelpro, it was clear that the FBI preferred hard-line white supremacist groups to black liberation movement.
You hear that? They preferred devils that's going around killing people, killing black people, than you to have your own civil rights group. They'll rather have the KKK marching, hanging crosses on your front lawn, hanging you on trees, than for you to have civil rights. But you know what civil means? That's just basic human rights. You understand that? That's human rights that you want. You necessarily don't want an advantage. You want a basic human rights. And it was better for them to do that than to give you those rights. All right?
They funded and supported former members of the 1960s far-right group, the Minutemen, in their goal to create the secret army organization, essentially a militant terrorist cell that fought against civil rights groups with tactics of intimidation and outright violence.
So it was a group called the Minutemen. Good night. And they were set up to actually destroy and take over all of those black, those black groups that they had, right? And they funded them. Right? Okay. A brother did find something. He said that Elizabeth, her daughter, married into the Stewart family. So they did get related at some point. We just have to do more research to see if they were black or not. But they possibly were. I just have to do some, my own research to find it because a lot of that stuff is hidden.
Oh, it's like what King James Stewart?
I believe he was I'm about 95% sure he was a Stewart.
Oh yeah, I saw research, but I'm not sure myself. I saw Stewart or Stewart family. So.
Yeah, I'm about 95% sure. So that's how it went. All right, let's keep going.
Hundreds, if not thousands, of potential enemies of the FBI were spied on with everything from wiretaps to direct stalking techniques. They even teamed up with the CIA in 1967 as part of their own domestic spying project, Operation Chaos.
And that's sad because the CIA is not supposed to operate on domestically, right? They're not supposed to operate on domestic soil. They're only supposed to operate on foreign soil. But they will operate in this case when it comes to you. They go twist those laws, man. They go twist all of that, so they can still do it. They ain't got to face no criminal charges for it. But meanwhile, they can place criminal charges on you and make you do a lifetime in prison, right? All right.
The Cointelpro reign of terror would consume the whole decade, a decade mostly known for flower power, free love, and imported British rock. The whole program was so sprawling that even figures like James Baldwin, Ernest Hemingway, and Muhammad Ali were on their list of enemies. Incidentally, Muhammad Ali ended up being a major force in the end of the Cointelpro operations, as his 1971 fight with Joe Frazier acted as a form of cover, while activist group Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI broke into an FBI field office in Pennsylvania. The group stole critical files on the...
And see, that's when that happened. That's how the end of Cointelpro, at least I guess the documented Cointelpro, it ended. Joe, he had the fight of the century with him, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. That was a distraction, so they could go in there and they could go into this FBI office and get all these files and get information on what they were researching on, and that's when it was found out what was going on. This Cointelpro, they was able to get these documents, and they didn't even get that much. They got a fraction of what was really there. So nobody would really know what was in those papers that they had, like to know the whole full extent of all the information that they had on everybody. They got a small fraction of it.
Cointelpro operations and blew the lid on the whole sordid affair, leading to considerable scandals and shame for the FBI and the public eye. Within a year, J. Edgar Hoover had announced that centralized Cointelpro operations were officially over. And while the FBI has hardly been squeaky clean since,
and you hear that, centralized. You get that right, centralized. That means organized by one central part. Like it wasn't coming straight from him. But you can license somebody else to go do it, right? You can tell New York to go watch them Hebrew Israelites over there, right?
Solution of the centralized Cointelpro operations was an undeniable win for anyone who likes the idea of living in a truly free country. Of course, only a fraction of the files were stolen, and many of the files subsequently released by the FBI have been heavily altered and redacted. The fact is, we will never know the full extent of the FBI's sinister activities between 1956 and 1971. But what we do know is that the FBI activities under the COINTELPRO umbrella were some of the most terrifying and illegal in American history. Groups who were simply exercising their quintessentially American First Amendment rights were attacked, defamed, arrested, and dissolved. And the people who formed these groups were at best threatened and manipulated, and at worst murdered and pressured towards suicide. We wish we could give you a more comforting ending, but instead, we'll leave you with two questions. What are the chances that COINTELPRO was an isolated incident? And what else have the FBI done that we don't even know about? Check out FBI's most violent, most wanted of all time.
What if it's more, right? What if it's more? But you know they're doing it again. Y'all remember that a few years ago they had the BIE. They were trying to find information on the Black Identity Extremists, which they had classified as that we're in that, right? The Black Identity Extremists. So then they made another group to watch us, to watch all of the groups that say that, they identify with whatever they identify with, right? So that they could do the COINTELPRO all over again. And it was already documented, we had the information already where they tried to take over the UPK. We had the brother they was trying to pay money to infiltrate the UPK, a brother that was ex-military, and we had a whole interview on Across the Line. This was a couple years ago.
Oh, right.
This was a few years ago. I don't know if anybody seen it or anybody remember that event, but it was a brother they tried to. He was under Captain Kapash's area, under Captain Kapash, his own. So, and Captain Kapash under of course Commander Yahanna. And what did Commander Yahanna say? He said he ain't worried about people trying to infiltrate, because they come in and infiltrate, they gonna end up joining, becoming full-fledged members.
That's right.
And they gonna disown.
That's right.
They oppressors, right? They gonna disown it. So we not worried about infiltrators here. So this brother, he tried to infiltrate. They want him to infiltrate the I.S.U.P.K, and he's a full member in the I.S.U.P.K now.
That's right.
So officer and everything. All right. Okay. I think that's about it. Anybody got any questions they might want to bring out?
Well, so I'm gonna bring out this precept, Psalm 55:1, where you've been talking about the COINTELPRO. It's Psalm 55:21. Oh yeah, okay. Psalm 55:21. They've been bringing out, just like I said, this Bible, it's a real history book. This ain't some fairy tale, that your grandma told you with some white angels, stuff like that, I'm just gonna bring this out real quick to sum it up. The book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, brought war in his heart. The person always gonna, give you food stamps and the grants and plans make you feel all good, make it think it's all sweet, it just, it be all smooth, but war in his heart. You know what happened back then, or Tulsa, Oklahoma, civil rights movement, that was in his heart to destroy us. Okay. His word was softer than oil, yet they were drawing swords, Back then, since the Abel Cain days, he was drawing swords, He was talking smooth, up to this day. He's still talking smooth, talking about we got a black president now, Barack Obama. But they're African. He ain't even not in our nation, race of people. But guess where we came in? You know what I'm saying? Homosexuality. 50 states, you know what I'm saying, throughout the United States. You know what I'm saying? They pushing the gay movement, you know what I'm saying? The transgender movement for our black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians. That's how he was drawn towards. And he talk smooth to you, you know what I'm saying? He'll give you a little stimulus check like that, you know what I'm saying? It just, ooh, everything's smooth, we get better now, but goddamn. They brought Joe Biden in, they cut that off. A year on that.
Alright. So everybody say something? They on the conference call? Go ahead. That's right. It's not over with. You know they out here still doing what they doing, man. Like I remember when I was coming to the troop. I mean, I was a trooper, man, and my a cousin of mine was getting ready to be an agent inside of the inside of Esau's government. One of his agents inside of his government. And first thing he did, he called my mother talking about, what is he in? Because they went and questioned him about it. And man, I'm a trooper. Like I don't even like have nothing real big on it, but they questioned him about that. So they looked at all your social media, looked at all your associations and all of that, and then made a whole file to come and then the question a relative on. Like I haven't spoken to this man in probably 3 or 4 years before I even like came to the school. I haven't spoken to him in 3 or 4 years. And I still haven't spoken with him, and that was about 5 years ago. So I haven't spoken to my cousin in almost 10 years. And they had that on record about me being in I.S.U.P.K. Right? So yeah, they keep a track on you. So don't think they don't know you in the UPK. You know what I'm saying? Don't think they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They know 100%. Go ahead. Oh, ain't no sweat at all. No sweat at all. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep, they are not. Exactly. They want us to follow all these other people, man. Trying to get some more on it. Trying to get some more on it. Okay. Let me see. All right. Anybody else? All right. With that, pass the class over, Chris, and over to the Pastor Yahanna.
I.S.U.P.K. Israelites, I.S.U.P.K. Security announcements. We the I.S.U.P.K. start out 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Room for a new brother and sister.
When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are limited for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to set themselves of the world. If they need transportation, teachers will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is commanded in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. My I.S.U.P.K, that means 10 in Hebrew. 10% of every penny increase the Lord gives you, give to the church department of teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like to give. The next whole convocation is going to be the feast. It's going to be the Day of the Atonement. That meaning that, okay, it's going to start October 4th, sundown. That meaning that after sundown, October 4th to October 5th, sundown, you cannot eat any food, water, can't drink or anything for 24 hours unless you're on medication, unless the women are pregnant. You know what I'm saying? If you have any medications to take anything like that, you know what I'm saying? Talk to your camp leader. And the sister, if you're pregnant, you gotta eat what you gotta eat, you gotta drink what you gotta drink. And we're gonna break that feast on Wednesday, October 5th, sundown. I walk in to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If any brother wants to be a trooper in school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, band, headband, or scarf. Make sure you do the address every time you come to school. It helps build algorithm in the school. Any count, any zone you're going to, go to your local address. With that, get work her to the teacher. Men Israel, minus a bot, a minor, Barak. Yahweh Shem HaShabbatah. What I just said to the priest, in the Lashon Kadash, may the Most High, in the name of Christ, bless you. Y'all didn't taught me hands down. Sorry. Turn to the sister in the class. Give a welcome salute to the sister in class. Men Israel, minus the bot, minor, Barak. Yahweh Shema Yatah B'Hashem Yahushai.
Yahweh Shema Halatham B'Hashem Yahushai.
While I said to you, Lashon Kadash, may the Most High watch over you in the name of Christ. Y'all taught me hands down, class dismissed.